Hang in
Dude,
there. It is.
that's Smylie Kaufman for 61. Wow.
I'm Smylie Kaufman, and this is The Smylie Show.
Hello and welcome to another major championship edition of The Smylie Show. I'm Charlie Hume, and that guy right over there, Smylie Kaufman, is now 3 for 3 this year in booking culturally immersive Airbnbs for the entire show staff. Your comments?
It is a shame that the good vibes only sign is behind the cameras because there's some truth to it. It's only good vibes here in this Airbnb.
Only good vibes here. Jackson and I walked around the neighborhood a little bit, popped into a bar that was unfortunately not serving food. Otherwise, that would have been a nice little Pittsburgh cultural experience. I think we've decided a couple things. One is loving the Steel City thus far. Feel like I'm excited. This is my first time here. And I think Jackson could work here. I think you put a hard hat on Jackson and drop him in Pittsburgh, he's going to find his way.
and two, like I was just walking down in downtown and somebody was going to give me a Pirates hat. He said for free. They're literally paying fans to be Pirate fans right now. And I said, why not? So it's in the car. I got a black and yellow
You
Pirates
didn't bring
hat.
it in here?
Nah, I didn't want to, we were kind of supposed to do a little work.
Oh yeah. We can offline that. I mean, I was ready. I was ready to wear a Pirates batting helmet, eat ice cream out of it on the show.
Yeah, not anymore.
None of those things are happening. That's a real shame. How was the trip been? Good trip.
Yeah, didn't miss any flights. The weather's just been all over the place in the southeast and really across the country from a rain perspective. Did you have to drive in that?
I drove through a little bit of rain. The Prius, the trusty Prius, is the official vehicle of this. Well, it's really the unofficial vehicle. If it was official, they'd be lining our pockets with some ad spend. But it is unofficial at this point. That 2014 Prius, still sporting the 2025 Masters press badge on it.
Well done.
And 8 hours, you can imagine, what that trip was like for me in terms of the various pit stops I made.
I imagine when people see the Prius with the Masters press badge driving down the highway, it's got to be similar to seeing like a tour truck. Like when you see the the Strixon or the TaylorMade or the Callaway big vans. It has to be similar when you see the Prius with the press badge.
That peach color.
Mom, Dad, look.
Mom, Dad. That's that guy in the Smylie Show.
That sure is. What's he got in there? That's a lot of Taco Bell bags, huh?
Yeah, we had this conversation off camera. I don't know if I want to bring it on camera or not, but I mean, I might as well at this point. Yeah, I mean, the diet starts after this week, which I think I've now said after both of the majors this year. So, but this one's going to hold. I promise you it will. Because we hit rock bottom today, and rock bottom was somewhere in West Virginia, stopping in at a Dunkin' Donuts for a little iced coffee, a little pick me up heading into the show today.
Sure.
And, they were almost out of donuts for the day, so I couldn't let the vanilla sprinkle one go. So grabbed a little vanilla sprinkle donut, and then I came out, and I had to create space in my car for the sprinkled donut and the Dunkin' Donuts coffee. And how I made space was I took out the Taco Bell bag that I got 2 hours earlier somewhere in Virginia and the Baja Blast that I'd taken down. And there was like a kid walking out of the Dunkin' Donuts, and I was just avoiding eye contact with him at all costs because that was the amount of shame I felt taking out Taco Bell trash in a Dunkin' Donuts parking lot. But that's major weeks, right?
100%. I mean, it started 2 years ago with Wendy's. And then, of course, your nickname is the Buttaburger from Culver. We just kind of are your fast food way to digest golf and digest actual fast food.
Yeah, it's got to we got to curb that a little bit. But hey, it's we're here for the memes at least this week.
Okay, good news is Oakmont is not flat. It goes down the valley into the interstate and then right back up. So a little bit of walking this week.
That's good. We're going to burn those calories right off. I wish I had like a step counter or something of that nature. But
your phone. Get the health app on your phone.
Oh, there you go.
Tells you how many steps a day. Yeah.
All right. Well, maybe we'll dial that in. Maybe that'll be a little goal setting for me this week. Burn off those Dunkin' Donuts that I'm undoubtedly going to indulge in the rest of the week, knowing that they're stopping once I get home. That's a great little segue though, because you made a quick trip. You got on late today, but you still made it out to Oakmont. Take a look at the course, and we are going to present this next portion of the show via our friends at Ahead. And this is the Think, Plan, and Move segment. Ahead is a strategic partner for enterprise clients, helping them navigate the path toward digital transformation, much like an expert caddy, reading the course ahead and providing the winning combination of technology and execution. You can learn more at ahead.com. So Smylie was our expert caddy. On the grounds today. This is live. We do not have a mute button unless Jax is riding the levels over there. We still have a mute button. We're all the way back. Maybe a little reverb on my mic. Smiley's still suffering from the black lung or something. We're trying to figure. It is appropriate. We're like in a coal town, a steel town. Yeah. Some sort of respiratory illness for you there. So you're out of Oakmont today, and we were getting texts, and you seem to be fired up. Like you were loving the shape this course is in.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was really excited about Oakmont, and I think playing here in 2016, you know, when you're kind of lost in just preparing for a golf tournament, you sometimes miss what's right in front of you. And for somebody who's not playing this week and is just out there trying to learn a golf course and just walking in late this evening, holy mackerel. I mean, it was just perfection. Just being able to look from one side of the property to the other and seeing what all is going to unfold this week, which just the design, the architecture of this golf course and the history of this place, it gets you excited. Like I was walking around just trying to envision what might be this week.
We had several players talk to the media today. We had DJ, JT, and Xander all, offer a variety of thoughts on the golf course. But here are a few on the difficulty. DJ was asked, and this is the reigning not the reigning champion, but the last time a U.S. Open was held here in 2016. Of course, DJ won. What do you consider the hardest course you've ever played? Dustin Johnson, probably this one. We had some quotes from Xander Schauffele, just talking about the U.S. Open, the difficulty of that test in general. Xander said, I don't think people turn on the TV to watch some of the guys just hit like a 200-yard shot on the green. You know what I mean? I think they turn on the U.S. Open to see a guy shooting 8 over and suffer. That's part of the enjoyment of playing in the U.S. Open for viewers. And then JT, I thought it was interesting, was talking about he played a practice round today with Jordan Spieth and Jackson Koiven. And they were looking at some of those lies in the rough. And he said Jackson had a lie on 15 today that we were kind of thinking, is it a 6-iron, open up a 6, or could you hit a 7? He tried to hit a 6-iron. It looked like he could, and he hit it like 4 feet in front of him. So it is difficult out there. Let's just kind of start with that piece of you play here in the U.S. Open. We talked a little bit in our last show about, is this the hardest course you've ever played? And just anything you saw out there today that indicates what the difficulty factor is going to be for these guys this week.
Oh, it's driving the golf ball, being able to hit fairways and just seeing how dense this rough is. And it's so healthy, so green. It's not like a typical long, Kentucky bluegrass rough that has all these different kind of colors to it. To me, it has like a much more of a green look to it, almost like a more dense, like more. It feels like you just can't get your clubs through it. From just an overall length standpoint, it wasn't as high as like Muirfield. It seemed to me to about the same. Like the rough length, I thought it was gonna be longer, to be honest. But I think
standard 5 inches across the board.
I think the density is what, not being able to hit the shots and not being able to feel what it's like through the rough. Of course, I'll be able to get a better sense of it over the next couple of days. But it's going to be all about how well you drive it this week. Can you hit some fairways? Currently, the golf course is playing, I would say, soft. The fairways are playing fairly wide because balls are basically plugging when they land, except for maybe some of the downhill holes. But I think what I did not recall, which is the green complexes, were way more bizarre than I recall. I mean, just slopes that you wouldn't believe. So many steep banks right on the front edges of the greens or on the sides off of bunkers that make it feel like you can never have like a flat putt that's a planar 20-footer that seems like, oh yeah, these are one of those that I can potentially make. It just doesn't seem like you're going to get a whole lot of putts that are going to look great to players' eyes out there this week.
That was one of the questions Xander was asked, because of course that putting green connects with the ninth green. It's like this one big giant box or rectangle or whatever shape you want to call it, but just with the edges. And so Xander was asked, how much time do you plan on spending on the putting green as you prepare over the next few days to try to get in shape for this event? Xander's answer was, putting greens is obviously essential. You feel like you have a crazy putt when you just practice on 9, but then you kind of look down on the ninth green. You're like, well, I guess that's kind of what it is. You know what I mean? It's hard to find a straight putt. It's hard to find a level putt. It's hard to find an area to do what we would call a speed drill. Like I said, you just have to adjust. And there were some other comments I read from JT just about both is talking about how the course is a little bit softer and balls plugging, and it maybe makes fairways a little easier to hit and hold, but that the course doesn't lose, even when it gets soft, it doesn't lose its full difficulty because of the slopes you find in these greens and how much break you have to play on these putts. I mean, how does that challenge change on a day-to-day basis? I mean, the speeds, we're hearing snip meter segments where the speeds are 14 and a half, maybe 15. You know, when it gets softer, obviously a little easier to hold, but the speed should remain the same regardless of wet or dry, correct?
Wind will play a factor there, right? Like when you have downwind holes, when you're putting on greens, typically golf ball will stop a lot less sooner than you'd like it to. And I think just the players that are going to be able to adjust to the balls starting to bounce in the fairways, maybe places that they didn't think they could get to, all of a sudden with a couple of bounces, the ball, next thing you know, you're in a bunker you didn't know that was even in play. So that's going to be interesting for the players that can adjust to the conditions. But then hitting shots into the greens, it requires so much ability to work, I think, the golf ball both ways. I think if you're hitting just one stock shot, if it's a draw or if it's fade, I think you have to be able to work it both ways into these greens because of the amount of pitch that are on these greens. When you think about a green that has 2 to 3 degrees pitch, right to left or left to right, if you're, especially with how fast these greens are, if you're hitting it and it's landing with the slope, with the draw on a right to left green, that golf ball's got to land so far up the hill for it to really even stay on the left side of the green. And I know they're big greens, but that's just going to be a big thing, is that I think you're going to have to hold shots into the slopes on the greens, and then you throw in some wind on top of that too. And next thing you know, you're left with some 40, 50 footers when you don't quite execute shots. And those are going to be tough 2-putts this week.
The hole that's perhaps generated the most amount of conversation or question asking this week, of course, is that par 3 8th hole that played over 300 yards in 2007, played high 200s when you played in 2016, where you, by the way, made a birdie on Friday. No big deal. Xander was asked about this and said today, it's just a golf hole. You can peel a par away from it. You just figure out how best to make a score on it. I think you might hurt a few egos if you see guys pulling driver or some long clubs in there, but at the end of the day, however you feel you're going to make the best score is how you should play it. We were watching live we saw Colin Morikawa wrestling with the idea of hitting a driver on a par 3. When you were out there today, any hot tips or tricks, or what do you see from that whole different tee locations and how you think it's going to play in this U.S. Open?
Well, it's just a bear. It's long, and that's what the USGA wants to do. They want
you guys will lay up with an iron.
No, dude. Come on. Dude.
I love
There'll be a lot of head covers coming off this week on that 8th hole. It's actually going to be playing back into the breeze. I think it's going to be a south wind most of the week. So there's a chance they might move that tee up if it's too ridiculous. Like, they don't let drivers all day. I can't imagine that they would.
Well, I thought it was interesting too, just in the snippet we were watching, that someone took on social media was Joe Greiner was talking about how there was the most width in the driver landing area, which is like a, kind of this, I don't know how
the run-up area that he's kind of referring to. There's that new bunker that you really can't see from the tee that kind of cuts out to the right a little bit. That's about 40 yards short of the green. And that's what I was talking to JT about actually earlier in the week, just about what he learned from Oakmont, seeing it since 2016. Excuse me. And he just said that, if you whiff a 3-wood or you whiff a 5-wood, or you whiff a long iron and you hit into that bunker, and all of a sudden you have, a 50-yard bunker shot. That's a really difficult shot to hit. And Bryson made it look easy last year on the 72nd hole, but still not an easy shot. And so I to your point of what Joe Greiner was talking about, the rough acts as bumpers or a way to stop the golf ball. So the golf ball's not going to continue to run away if you land it onto the green with the driver. It's just going to hit. It's going to trickle, 4 or 5 yards in the rough at most. So at least you're chipping up around the green. And remember, this 8th green is easily the most flat green on the golf course. There's so much slope on all these greens, but the 8th hole really is one in which it's a fairly easy 2-putt, probably the easiest 2-putt on the golf course. So yes, you are challenged with length, but I think the beauty of Oakmont is that, for instance, the short holes may have more of the trickier greens, but a long par 3 like this has the most forgiving green. Very flat, very big, very, very easy to make a 3 if you hit it onto the green. And I think even around the green, you can get it up and down as long as you're on the correct side.
One final player quote I'll leave you with before we transition to the next part of the show. Xander just asked about, what type of player should rise to the top this week. And he said, I think it just puts an emphasis on hitting the fairway and hitting greens. If you're a premier ball striker, you'll be licking your chops. Smylie, here's one way that you can guarantee you probably won't be a premier ball striker is if you're going somewhere to play golf and your clubs, you try to check them on an airplane and they don't make it and you got to get a set of rentals. That's the fastest way to get to bad ball striking. And you can avoid that with Ship Sticks. Ship Sticks gets you from your front door to 4 easier than ever. They'll pick up your golf clubs from your home or office and deliver them on time, guaranteed to your golf destination anywhere in and outside the United States. No more airport headaches, no more lugging heavy bags, just easy, stress-free travel for golfers like you. The supporting benefits include white glove service, complimentary insurance, real-time tracking, door-to-door service, international shipping, and it's for any occasion. Ship Sticks is perfect for buddies trips, business trips, even family vacations where managing kids, strollers, and extra luggage can ruin your vacation before it's even begun. You can enjoy 20% off your next shipment by using the promo code SMYLIE. That's SMYLIE. And we'll also put a little link there in the description so you can ship your sticks wherever you like to. Ensure they get there on time. You can premier ball strike it. Or
Okay.
at least
Question on the promo code. So it's SMYLIE. That's how I spell my name, of course. Could you have spelled my name right 4 years ago? Just you're at your Wednesday media or Wednesday just night trivia night.
yes.
At the local spot in Raleigh
Yeah.
or Durham, wherever you live. And would you have spelled my name right?
I would have because, and you want to know why? Because years prior to that, it was a Sunday in Augusta, Georgia, and while you were walking around with Jordan Spieth, wearing your tiger purple, I probably was carrying a stack of about 20 cups with my little brother, just traipsing around. And just hoping that Jordan Spieth or Smylie Kaufman won the Masters.
That's a good man.
You know?
Good man. Well, they don't have the first name spelled on the leaderboard there. So
Yeah, but I've read the media guide.
You read the media guide. There you go.
Listen, I'm a journalism guy. I got a diploma and everything. I can show it to you sometime. I would have got it spelled right. Now I'm going to pose a little question to you, a little trivia question to you. We're going to get later in the show to, as we do at majors, DraftKings is going to present both our one and done picks and the DFS lineup we'd like to put together. But we've been monitoring the odds on DraftKings Sportsbook all week long. And I want you to guess, we just recorded maybe just last night. I want you to guess right now, outright odds for Scotty Scheffler and Rory McIlroy.
Well, Rory was plus 900 and Scotty was plus 275.
So what do you think they are now?
I'm gonna guess that Rory's plus 1100 and Scotty's now plus 215.
Scotty's still plus 275. I believe last night Rory's in the 800s. Rory's now moved to 12-1.
What?
To win this golf tournament. So I wanted to start this section where we discuss players individually with Scotty, but that was so glaring when I saw that in the sheet. Now I know he just had one of the worst driving weeks of his entire career up in Toronto. And I know that he's talking about after having that driver fail at the PGA Championship and being a little upset about that and trying to find the right driver ahead. And he was even talking to the media about, his not speaking to the media that week and the role of frustration played in that. And so you're wondering where a guy's head is at, seemingly after completing the career Grand Slam and thinking he'd be freed up. Maybe it looks like he's going in the other direction, but 12-1 for a guy who's played, other than Scotty, some of the best golf we've seen all season long on the PGA Tour. Does that feel a little disrespectful to you?
I think the number's probably right, considering what we've seen, right?
I don't, you know, I think I'd kind of trust your eyes on the ground. I mean, I think all season long, look no further than some of your one and done guys. Like, you've really been able to kind of look at some of these guys and tell us when everyone else is saying, hey, Rory at Quail should be a slam dunk. It's like, well, he wasn't driving it so hot up at Philly Cricket, and you were right there. And if we're looking at this eye test again and saying, you know, theoretically, this should be a good look for him. Like, if you can't hit the ball straight this week, as we've just talked about with the 5-inch rough, it's going to be a tough sledding out there at Oakmont.
Well, you just can't hit less than 50% of your fairways. You really need to be in that 60 to 65% range, really probably closer to 65%. That's what kind of the history has shown us at Oakmont of what the winners really did here as far as how many of their fairways they did hit. It was interesting too with Rory. You know, his golf swing was in such a good spot at the beginning of the year. We talked about this on this episode on Monday, but with a really good player, you know, even it can only take a couple days for things to click, and it sometimes might feel very far away, but it could be so simple. He could figure this thing out literally over this past weekend and show up with a swing thought that really works. And if he's driving it good, from there he can go and compete. But if he can't hit fairways, he's probably will be heading home early, because if you're only hitting, let's say, a third of your fairways, if you're hitting, you know, 4 to 7 fairways, it's going to be really, really hard to be around this weekend.
Yeah, I'm fascinated to see what the game plan looks like for him this week. You just think just hit as far as he can?
Well,
and,
it's just, I think just having a shot shape. I think really it's for a player that has a two-way miss, which he tends to have right now. He's got one that's overturning to the left and then just kind of a bit of a block. It's not that bad. It's not that far off. But for him, it probably he's just probably can't quite figure it out in his hands and get the club head to match. But I would just go to a shot shape. That's the first thing a good player probably should always look to. Let's not go try to reinvent the wheel. Let's just think about a certain shot shape and go and try to execute that.
And the one thing that I will, you know, maybe give him a little bit credit for is I wonder how his week up at the Canadian Open would have changed without, it was a bad approach shot where he hit it and lost and had taken unplayable, where he made that quad, I think early in the round, maybe the 4th or 5th hole at TPC Toronto. And that kind of took him off the rails and put him in, and then, you know, you make a bunch of bogeys from there.
But
and
you could see it on the bad swing. Like, I even saw it on that wedge swing. Like, when he gets off, he has, like, when he keeps it out in front of him and then keeps it in front of him too on the way back, and it doesn't get too far back behind him, and that right arm gets like super disconnected from him, that's when he really can only get, you know, underneath it. You can see that right, you know, side of his head start to do this a little bit, and then he has to chase it up the line. And that's where you get the two-way miss a little bit. You know, they get the block and then the overturn, especially with the wedges. So that, I think if he can work on the feels that he had at the beginning of the year, which is just keeping that right arm and everything kind of hinged and right out in front of him, I think he'll start to feel like it's in a little better spot.
Yeah, that was that whole off season where he just didn't even hit balls outside for a while.
Yeah.
Because he was trying to drill a feel and get more compact.
I need that.
Yeah, I want to go to Rory's like drill cave and get compact. I saw that one time. It was one of those robotic machines where it had his exact plane and everything.
I've always wanted to try that.
And the guy, there's like a random schmo off the street like me, was trying to do it, and it was like, wait, how do you get down there? Just so good. So yeah, I mean, it'll be an interesting week for Rory, but 12-1. I mean, if you think he can play that little tee down bullet driver and find some fairways this week, you know, maybe that get a little value play.
That was a shot that he really didn't hit at all at Truist. And I think he's kind of struggled with places where there's not very, like, this golf course has like a linksy kind of vibe to it. When you're out there, there's some blind greens, there's some blind fairways, and there's no trees to really shape the holes. You really have to create a picture in your head of what you're looking at.
That's an interesting point of like not having an aiming reference point. You know, that's a really good point.
Oh, that's the indecision and the beauty of this place, Oakmont. Wow. When you have, I just think about the stretch that I walked today. You go from the 3rd hole in which you can only see the top half of the fairway. You can't even see the landing zone where you're landing the golf ball, and then you hit the fairway, And I was talking with Ted Scott walking down the fairway. He was out there doing work with Scotty, or for Scotty, I should say. Scotty went out there. But he probably spent a good 20 minutes trying to figure out what the lines were on not only the first shot, but the second shot, because the top of the hill, they were playing this past Sunday, I believe Scotty was playing, and they had 180 yards to the hole, but they couldn't shoot it because they were down at the bottom of the hill and they couldn't see the flag. Ted had to walk 62 yards to be able to shoot the flag. That was like the closest that he could get because there wasn't a pin sheet for him to know how far it was.
Wow.
So he walked 62 yards up the hill to where he could finally shoot the flag, and then he shot the bag to where he could give a number to Scotty to be able to hit a shot. I thought that was, of course the guys during the tournament will have a pin sheet to be able to refer to, but I just thought it was interesting knowing that, all right, that's just another great example of you can't see the fairway, now you can't see the green, and now this green it's insane. It's pitched way back up, and if you come up short, it rolls 30, 40 yards back, and it all slopes away. Just brilliant design. And then the fourth hole, like you could see everything, but then the second shot's blind, and then the fifth hole, the tee shot's blind, and it's just a beautiful mix of just right there in front of you, but it isn't.
Well, and let's kind of segue in that direction of Scotty as the far and out the favorite at plus 275. No one really even the closest player now is Bryson DeChambeau at plus 750. That's the next shortest odds we have for an outright winner at this U.S. Open at Oakmont. We know if A Scotty, if A minus Scotty, if B plus Scotty shows up, we know who's winning this golf tournament. If you get the C version of Scotty this week, how do you think that ends up for him? Like the one that has maybe a little bit of that two-way miss coming in off the tee and ending up in some rough spots.
He ain't
just because it's going to be so penal where he's going to miss.
He's got to be able to drive it good. He can't have a week where you have to drive it in the fairway this week. There's just no other way to win this golf tournament without hitting at least 60% of your fairways. I would be shocked if the winner at the end of the week hits less than 60% of their fairways.
Well, and then let's couple that with, and now we're going to kind of start bouncing around. It's like, let's go to Bryson at plus 750, a guy who, drives the ball a long way, but has that right to left shot shape. And the thing we've questioned all these majors is, his iron distance control.
Totally.
And now he just switched to these new LA Golf irons we talked about and had a pretty solid week at Live, in Virginia. And if he shows up where he can't control if he's hitting it straight, and the shot shape on the irons is looking good. I mean, do you like him as a guy? Obviously, he's a two-time U.S. Open winner, so he's going to be one of the favorites. But do you think he has the right profile of game and the right shot shape for this place, or is it again come back to just so you like Bryson a lot this week?
A lot, yeah, because he drives it long and straight.
Yeah,
sets up the whole game. He has been the best major player. I think you can argue probably the best major player of anybody in the world over the last 6 starts. Let's just look and see what he's done.
Yeah.
He has finished in the top 6 5 times of his last 6 major starts. That's stupid. Not even Scotty Scheffler can even compare to that. Scotty Scheffler, he's done that 3 times. He hadn't done it 5. So I think Bryson is in the peak of his career right now. The way he drives the golf ball, the iron game, which I'll talk about now. The Masters, he was 3rd or 2nd to last in that iron statistic from Shirk's game perspective. And then you go to the PGA Championship. In both of these events, he drove the ball fantastic. Like PGA drove it the best of anybody in the field. Masters all the way up there
was
too.
Pretty solid too.
100%. But then at the
just the irons, right?
The PGA too, he was around like of the 70 or so guys that made the cut, he was like mid 40s. So below average, actually just slightly gaining strokes approach. But if you think about it, when you think about just how they measure shot link and how they measure data, when he is gaining so much off the tee with his distance, he should have an advantage to gain strokes approach because of how close he is to the hole. So it just shows you how poor he has been with that approach game. It's a big week for him as far as just his ability to play kind of more creative golf and kind of take And if you go, if you watch the YouTube video, which we did,
I caught up on it today between Taco Bell and Dunkin'. It was a nice little sandwich there. 2.5 million views now on Bryson's preview of Oakmont, which I thought was a great way to look at it. I mean, I guess the greens were rolling 5 feet shorter than they will be.
The only thing I just wanted to mention to you, which is. It was really interesting to hear him and his caddy kind of how they talk. I thought that was kind of interesting. Even just saying, is this a 26-yard shot? I was like, who in their right mind knows how far 26 yards is?
there was one where it was Bryson. It was like it was originally called out as a 40-yard shot. He said 39.
Yeah, and then
take a yard off.
And then the one that
yards.
blew my brain too was a putt that he had from 40 feet, and they were like, this is like an 80-footer or something.
65-footer. It was like a 45 to a
And
65-footer.
it was like, what, dude?
They talk. It's like they're speaking a foreign language. Like they talk grade, they talk feet of putts. He uses a clock system for most of his bag. Honestly, he kind of even in the longer irons. I thought this is a 10 o'clock 8 iron, or 10:30 8 iron.
With the putting, I think that formula for these greens is going to be helpful.
Yeah.
I think these greens are really difficult to just have a general putt off feel and putt off for your eyes because they most likely are going to break more than you think. And I think players oftentimes when they get on really fast greens like this, they underread, and you always have to play the higher and softer line. And I wonder if in his calculations and how he does things, if that will be an advantage. Being an aim point guy, is he an aim point guy? It's like a form of an aim point.
Well, the part of it that he's taking out is the grade reading, right?
Yeah.
Like that's where you're trying to read the slope. That was another interesting part of that video that I don't know if this was just, I don't know how much of this was produced or whatever else, but it was interesting that his local caddy and his current caddy were under-reading putts. He was always over-reading all those putts, and they were under-reading all those putts. And again, the greens were, I think they were estimating between a 10 and 11 that day, and they're going to be rolling between a 14 to 15 this week, so it's going to be a whole different type of challenge. But still, like that, his head was there, trying to kind of miss on the pro side of the hole. So
it was definitely a good piece of content, especially as I'm just excited to get going this week.
I just wanted to see Oakmont, and it's got me so fired up to get out there. Now let's go to another live guy. The guy who shares the third shortest odds with Rory McIlroy, Jon Rahm at 12-1. I mean, it's we've talked about it now. I think one of the lasting images leaving Quail Hollow for me, or just lasting statements, was him talking about how hungry he is to get back in contention at a major and stay there and eventually win the thing. And I just have a feeling about Jon Rahm this week. I really do. Because, and here's my calculus, and you could go either way on this, because if you look at his last 3 starts, he lost strokes gained putting in the 2 live events and gained a considerable amount of strokes gained putting at the PGA. So obviously you don't want to see red numbers, and that's alarming a little bit when you're coming to a place where, to your point, we just had the conversation about Bryson, pace control, putting, huge greens. By the way, the biggest greens we're going to see all season on tour, bigger than Kapalua in terms of average square footage. So that's a little bit worrisome. But a guy who, when he's driving it well, is as good as anybody in the world, good iron player, good at distance control, all those sorts of things. And a guy who really just has the want to, I feel like this week. I just have a feeling about Jon Rahm.
He's definitely been better in the majors. Really, I think the Open Championship was the one that finally clicked it back into gear. Whether he was working on his golf swing or just not comfortable with the decision he made of just being getting back into just in a major groove. And he's been better. Like if you look at his results, he's finished 7th, 14th, and 8th in his last 3 major starts. I really like him on Poana greens. When I think of Jon Rahm, like when he's putting his best, I think he putts really well on Poana.
Loves that look out of Torrey. Yeah, my major championship test where Poa greens. I mean,
there's a lot
to add up a little bit.
And all right, so I'll give you another a good thing with Rahm is that he can work his irons both ways. He typically won't,
likes to cut it, right? Yeah,
but he can go right to left, which I think is a nice thing to have this week too.
Still hasn't finished worse than top 10 in the live event. I mean, just been this whole season.
I like him this week. I'm with you. I think I feel as good about Jon Rahm this week than I have in a very long time.
And that's saying something.
I think he's he's just played his way into form a little bit. Like in majors, we've gotten to see it as far as like him being close. Like he had a chance to win at the PGA, fell short. Doesn't mean that he can't go out there and get in contention again and pull it off. I think we'd all be a little surprised this week if he wasn't in that top 10.
I think so too, and I think what a difference a year makes. Where you're sitting at the Pinecrest Inn here last year, and he just withdrawn after having a foot issue, and we're just looking at the totality of his first season on Live, and obviously the mind's in a better place this year. We're getting close to the time where we're going to need to make those picks, put that lineup together. But there are two other guys that I wanted to kind of get some extended thoughts on. And let's start with Xander Schauffele going off at 22-1. We heard a selection of his comments. He was also some of the ones I didn't read. He was just asked about the mentality it takes to succeed at the U.S. Open and, not throwing tantrums. And if you are upset about a shot, being able to kind of zero out before you hit the next one and really focus on making that a good shot. And he's talking about his injury and coming back from that this year and how it was just trusting it initially. And now he kind of feels he's not thinking about it really anymore. He's got a full level of trust in his golf swing that he's not going to re-injure it. Where do we feel like we're at with a guy whose game should be perfect for this type of a U.S. Open test?
Well, I think his game is still going to be a bit of a question mark, not knowing if we're going to get what Xander's fully capable of. But what he's done at the U.S. Open is unbelievable. I think the one thing that's missing on his resume right now is probably a U.S. Open championship. And when you go look at what he's done, man, he's finished in the top 10 7 of his 8 starts in the U.S. Open. I can't even describe to you how
looks like a misprint.
It really feels like it is. He's got 3 top 5s there too. And you go back and look at the players that have finished in the top 10 in their first 8 starts. There's been like 5 players, and Xander Schauffele is the only one to really do it in this, of course, in this millennium. But the last one to do it was like in the 1920s. So there's just been really interesting data when you look at that, and that Xander's really done something that nobody else has ever done when it's come to a U.S. Open in the modern era and in the modern game. It just speaks to the type of player he is. The first off his just how elite he is at every part of his game, but how patient of a person you have to be, because U.S. Opens are there are so many different venues. You have different grasses, you have different conditions, golf courses that may suit a player that might not suit, another player. And Xander's found a way to make every golf course, find a way to go out and shoot 70 every round.
You were talking as he was coming back. We were, looking at every facet of his game, and the one where you were worried about it coming back maybe a little bit slower was just putting. And he's traditionally been, one of the best putters on tour. Is there any part of this that, as a guy who's a West Coast guy, obviously putted a lot of Poe, could this be a get right week for him?
I think so. It's going to be about how good your speed can be. But I always felt like with Poe Anna Greens, and maybe those of you that are watching or listening right now feel the same way about Poe. But when you get inside of 10 feet, if you grew up on Bermuda or Bent, it just looks different.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like the hole just doesn't look as clean to me.
Right.
I don't know why. The hole looks smaller, and guys that putt well in Poe Anna, I was never one of them, but he grew up on it, so I think that is an advantage.
I feel like it's some of it's like the splotchiness of the color, where there's more consistency. Like where I grew up in Fresno, we would, in the Central California, we'd have Bermuda greens, but then you go to the coast and it's Poe. And the first couple putts, you were like, wait a second, this is completely different. Well, but I could see that for sure.
I just always felt on Poe Anna Greens that I wanted to hit putts more firm, because I felt like
take maybe the bumpiness out of it a little bit.
Bumpiness out, and then I think it's just natural when you're nervous on a putt, where you just like don't feel like you can see it as well. Mm-hmm. It's natural to want to hit it firmer. So like when you have that downhill left to right putt, you're like, oh, I'll play it inside the left and just smash it. And so like I would never do that on Bermuda or Bent Greens, because I just know how the grass is going to react.
Right. Yeah, that's a great point. That's a great point. It'd be interesting to see if Xander gets a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I'm not surprised to see when I was back and looking at my results here that I don't think I putted well at all. Most of the time when I was shooting that high of a score, and I don't remember hitting it that bad, it had to be a little bit of just you're not making those putts inside of 10 feet. It's going to be important. You're going to have to make, some of those putts that are in that 6 to 8 foot range that are going to be tough to make. And yeah, Xander, just like John Rahm, very good putters on Poana.
Yeah, and I mean, man, Speedy Poe with slopey greens. I mean, I'm getting just the cold sweats just thinking about it right now. But I mean, it'll be quite the test, and a guy that has experience on the surface or that feels more comfortable with him that should be an advantage this week. Where I want to go next is Ludwig Åberg, 30-1. I don't know what to make of Ludwig's season. I feel like there are times where it feels like a disappointment. There are other times where it feels like he's rounding into form. His last 2 starts, T16 at the Memorial, T13 at the Canadian Open, missed the cut at the PGA, 7th at the Masters, kind of some middling form in the middle of the season. Of course, one of the Genesis, which was at Torrey, a tournament he was leading at the Farmers, but then he got sick. I don't know what to make of a season that for many felt like coming off of last year, and he's in contention. He's the closest competitor to Scotty the Master. We're thinking he's going to win a major this year. Just pick the one. And here we are. I mean, he's going off at 30-1. I think if someone gave you 30-1 on Ludwig to win any major at the end of last year, you'd be like, give it to me right now. And I don't know how you feel about that number. Feel like it's too high or too low right now, or if it just feels just right given the way he's been playing golf this season.
I think he's still learning. But if you want to call it a sophomore slump, which is a very, he's won on the PGA Tour this year, and
it's relative to his expectations,
exactly.
Which for us is sky high.
I think we put him just in this realm of expectations that I think he's kind of fought a little bit of his golf swing a little bit this year. Talking to Joe Scaver and his caddy last week, cleaning some of those things up, and it's a learning process. These are all you try to become as consistent as you possibly can be, and you try to have all the answers and all the fixes that you possibly can when you're out there. And sometimes you don't have the answers, and I think for the most part, his talent carries him to making cuts and, for the most part, finishing inside the top 25. But you're right. The talent is it's unworldly. He's a player that 100%, if he plays to his capabilities, 30-1 seems like a steal. And that's what you're kind of referring to.
100%. I mean, it's just an interesting one. I mean, it's fun looking back at. We even did these picks at the very beginning of the year, January, of like the way we thought the season would script out. And there have just been so many different aberrations over the course of the season.
Oh, wait. Just thought about this. You wanted Farmers. Oh, man, agrees. We're just going to we're going to have everybody that's wanted Torrey Pines on our DraftKings thing.
It's the Poe All Stars, the Poe All Stars, baby.
They're gonna be players that hit 260 off the tee that hit every fairway, and then we're like, wait, why can't they make birdies out there?
Well, they putt great on Poana. Yeah. By the way, on the topic of one and done, huge scandal unfolding the Smylie show as you used Sam Burns twice this season.
This is a clerical error by the one who keeps the deal.
I was walking amongst the Nashville airport. I couldn't possibly have that up at the same time.
Jax, can we get a ruling?
The reason I bring it up,
it was done in good faith.
The reason I bring it up in the context of Ludwig is I used him in a week. I used him AT&T, and he got sick, and I was campaigning for maybe getting 3 more rounds somewhere else. I feel like now I get another full use of Ludwig because you used Sam Burns twice.
Well, I think that I should be able to use one of the 3 other guys I referred, which Ryan Fox won, Cameron Young finished 3rd, and I think Jake Knapp finished top 25?
Yeah, I mean, I think you should be forced into Knapp at very least in terms of a punitive measure, but I would rather just have Ludwig back. I'd rather just have another Ludwig use. Leave us your ruling in the comments, please, and we'll take the one we like best. Okay, before we go to the picks, Smylie.
Well, you know what's even worse? It's not like I used Sam Burns at like the Amex. I used him like 3 weeks ago.
I used him at Philly Cricket. I mean, come on. What is wrong with us?
Nothing even clicked until you said it. I was like, you know what? You're right. You're totally right.
We were looking at the spreadsheet and
see, by the way, you looking at this? I know you guys can't see this, but
highlights from Angel Cabrera.
That was it was 2007 and it was a very difficult year because it was super firm, but you saw the gradual rough out there. they don't have the gradual rough.
Just
It's
straight to 5 inches.
Straight 5 inches rough. So it's can and can't do this week.
Actually, I lied. I have two more things I want to ask you before we get to the one and done picks and the DFS lineup. First is I have this little group I'm calling form guys. Okay.
Okay.
Guys that are just in form this season playing good golf. I wonder who you like out of this group that are a little bit longer odds. 45-1 Shane Lowry, 50-1 Sepp Straka, 70-1 Ben Griffin, 80-1 Sam Burns.
I would say Sepp would be the best one out of that group. I think he drives it better than any of those four. At times, Shane's driver kind of gets a little off, but Shane would probably be the best iron player of the group, and then you would put Sepp right there with him. Him and Shane and Sepp are just incredible iron players. Ben, it'll be about his aggressive style. Will that be neutered at all a little bit by Oakmont? You know, those bunkers are there like catcher's mitts, and the rough is very thick. It's going to have a really good week driving the golf ball.
Mm-hmm.
And then Sam Burns, he's been playing a lot better. Of course, you know, we just saw what he did last week, but he's definitely in form. It's a good question. I don't know what to expect from Sam this week. That's one where I wouldn't be surprised if he, you know, finished top 10, but I also wouldn't be surprised like if he missed the cut either. I think I would be a little surprised if he won the golf tournament. I think I just don't know how well he can hit his long irons out here where there's some shots he really got to hit them.
Okay. And then the last thing I want to get from you is I'm going to read you a list of amateurs. I want your prediction for low am. Okay. Evan Beck. I've been trying hard with this last name all day long. Trevor Gutschewski, Frankie Harris, very similar to your wife's maiden name. Justin, well, it is your wife's maiden name, but Francie Harris, Frankie Harris. You know what I'm going for. Justin Hastings, Mason Howell, Ben James, Noah Kent, Jackson Coyven, Michael Lasasso, Brian Lee, Zachary Polo, Lance Simpson, Cameron Tankersley, Matt Vogt, Tyler Weber. Who you got low am this week?
It's going to come between three guys. It'll either be Ben James, Jackson Coyven, or Brian Lee.
Ooh, okay.
I think Brian Lee, he went to Duke. For whatever reason, I think he made a transfer to Virginia. I'm not positive on that, but he's a very good player. Coyven, obviously, now going to be a PGA Tour guy.
Yeah.
He's probably be the favorite on that, I would imagine. But if Ben James, he's got the goods, though, man. He's really good. So I think it would come between one of those three.
And what type of pants are they going to be able to build to contain Michael Lasasso's quads? I just don't know that he might have to be a jogger guy. I mean, rain shorts, by the way, the rain shorts are here. They're with me. There are a lot of comments asking about the rain shorts. There is 100% forecast of rain shorts this week at Oakmont. If you're going to be out there, please come find me. I'd love to just show them off. I'm trying to get a whole movement going.
Well, I think Lasasso, he should skip leg day. You know, like when we talk about
he should cool on leg
shouldn't
day.
skip leg day. Like, dude, stop.
Can you mix a little benching?
Yeah,
Although he's benches too, the guy's built.
Yeah,
yeah.
Just like hit your forehead against the wall for like 30 minutes, because everything else is in form.
It's just gotta look weird. Like you don't put the guy with the 5-inch inseams.
Jackson, he's a big workout guy. What should he do next? Like toe curls?
I think it's Pilates.
Pilates. There you go.
Pilates Lasasso. Maybe get him like a Lululemon deal. Get him in there with
go get a pedicure.
Let's
go get a pedicure this week.
But he's got flexibility. I mean, this guy's got it all. I'm a Michael Lasasso guy. What can I say?
Bonk.
Was not expecting that to be in our US Open preview. Wait, here we are. Okay. It is time. It is time for us to put together a DFS lineup. It is time for us to make our one and done picks, and we're doing it with the help of our friends at DraftKings Sportsbook. This week only, new customers can bet just $5 and win $300 in bonus bets if your bet hits. And so stay around at the end of this segment. We're going to tell you how you can do that with a little promo code from us. But we're going to start, Smylie, with our DFS lineup, okay? And we usually kind of draft this together. I mean, I have first pick this week, but who do we let's just look at this top crop of guys. Okay, Scotty at $14,400, Rory at $12,400, Bryson at $11,000.
Just go where you want, man.
I mean,
Who do you feel really good about this week?
I just have a feeling about Rom.
All right, throw him in there,
Can
buddy.
or should we do Bryson? We really both like Bryson.
Yeah.
Bryson. Okay, I'd say it this way. I trust the odds makers.
Scotty's so high up there, dude.
Bryson has shorter odds by a wide margin now than Rory, but he's $1,400 cheaper. So I think we plug Bryson in there for the best value top guy. So let me punch that in there. All right, where do you think we should go next?
I love just Sep's ability to ball strike it.
7,700. That is a auto play there. I love that.
Sepp Straka could win this tournament.
He's getting a little love on Golf Channel earlier, live from. I like it.
He can just par a course to death. He hits it good enough. Ball strikers are going to be licking their chops, what Xander said. He just wakes up and just finds the middle of the face, man.
I'm trying to find some more Po boys. I think that's what I'm going to call them now. This Po Anna boys.
Yeah, Po boys.
Po boys. A little shrimp Po boy. Jason Day or Po boy?
Well, just keep going.
Okay, all right.
He's been a little banged up.
Okay. Ryan Fox. Who do you like here? Former champ Dustin Johnson, 6,700.
Bobby Mack's a striper.
Bob,
He's been playing good. Akshay Bhatia. Akshay Bhatia.
You want Akshay right now, 6,700?
Yeah, Akshay Bhatia.
So you think just striper of the golf ball and
it's just time.
it's just time. All right.
It's just time.
So now we have 3 positions left. We have our average remaining salary of 8,200, which really opens us up. So we can go back up top if we want to, unless we want to look down here a little bit, see if there's anyone else at the bottom of this list we like.
Ooh, man.
I think we're starting to kind of bottom out here.
No, I saw Rye Guys and I saw
Oh, wait a second. Could this be a Rye Guy week?
I think it could be a Rye Guy.
You got to ride with the Rye Guys. Straight hitter of the golf ball? That makes sense.
It seems like he's like the paste to all this. So
He is.
What about
He's-
Rye Guys? And then what about can you go up a little bit for me?
Well, now we have 2 spots left and average is 9,100. So we have a lot of room.
Oh, we do. Okay.
Keep going. I mean, we could go all the way up into.
Tell me why we shouldn't plug in Cam Young. Tell me how stupid that is. How dumb did that sound?
Right now. I mean, he's playing good golf right now. Qualified for the U.S. Open. Got hosed on that fairway wood in the last hole at
Dude, Stripes that grew up on Poe.
And he said he said he was really upset. He grew up on. I think we got to do Cam Young. Where did I lose him? I lost him in the shovel here. He was cheap, 6,500.
I know. It's kind of.
Dude, we have a lot of money left.
All right, so what do you got?
Oh my gosh, we can take X-Man or Rom.
Ah,
Okay, which one are we doing? You want Xander or you want Rom? We did one.
Jax.
Jax, do you want Xander or Rom? This is a tough one.
Kind of feel like you should take Rom.
I feel like we should take Rom.
Your gut was with Rory.
Okay, so let's just take a look at this because we can always make changes. We left $1,500 on the table, that's ludicrous almost. Akshay Bhatia, Bryson DeChambeau, John Rahm, Aaron Rice, Sepp Straka, and Cam Young. That's kind of a banger.
Is there ever been a lineup where Cam Young didn't look great in it though?
He looks so good coming off the bus. I mean, he's like the first guy off the bus, and you're like, that guy looks like a player. And he is.
Wags
It's
is
just
playing from the church fuse right now. This is so good.
oh, this is amazing.
Where's he hitting this?
Oh,
dude!
Oh my
God! He just hit it so far left.
That's amazing. He's gonna have a lot of fun with it this week. I cannot wait to see some of the shots that Johnson Wagner recreates. All right, so do we like this?
Yeah, dude.
All right, let's ship it. That's what we're doing. Akshay Bhatia, Bryson DeChambeau, John Rahm, Aaron Rice, Sepp Straka, Cam Young. We don't even need that extra $1,500.
Listen, guys aren't making putts this week. Let's just stripe it.
Let's just strap it. Okay, so now here it is. Time for our one and done picks. I'm going first, and I've just been kind of leading into this the entire show. I'm going John Rahm. there's just something, and I felt so against taking Rahm and all the majors going to last year since he left for Live up until this point, and it just feels like something changed a little bit. Hearing him talk at Quail, hearing him just kind of feeling like he's closer to it, he's more motivated, and I just feel like with a good, the putter we talked about has been a little up and down, but likes putting on Poe. He's a Poe boy, and I think that if he has a good week rolling the rock, I think he's right there in the mix. Maybe wins this thing.
Okay, love it. Can you help me out with who I haven't picked?
Yes, yes.
Because I have like a couple guys that I'm thinking about taking, and I just like, have I taken him yet?
Yes. Let's make sure. Let's just verify that we. I have some catching up to do on the spreadsheet too. In all honesty, it's partially my fault, so I'll accept responsibility there. All right, who would you like to take?
I really like your John Rahm pick.
Okay.
I kind of don't know. I kind of want to take Scotty.
You took Scotty at Vedanta, so you can't take him here.
Have I taken Sepp?
You took Sepp at Valspar.
Are you kidding me?
I'm not kidding you, unfortunately.
Dude,
Wish I was
about to pull trig there on my boy. Okay.
Who'd you take at Memorial? Do you remember you took a Memorial?
No, I don't.
I'm like 2 weeks behind. We'll clean this up after the show.
Who did I take at Memorial?
Who did you take a Memorial? I don't even know who I took a Memorial.
Okay.
I mean, I have 2 small children. This is not my fault. I'm not displacing blame.
I gotta look at the odds board. I really do not know who.
Do you want me to read you some odds?
Yeah, give me the odds.
All right, so Scotty plus 275, Bryson plus 750, John Rahm 12-1, Rory 12-1, Xander 22-1, Colin 25-1. Guess Joaquin Niemann 30-1. I know you want to do it. I know he looks like a guy that wants to take Joaquin Niemann at 30-1. Playing good golf right now.
I'm gonna take Morikawa.
You're going to take Morikawa. Let me make sure you've not taken him because there's a high likelihood that you have.
That's not true. I'm not taking him. Take it back.
You've not taken. Wait, he might have taken Colin Morikawa Memorial. I mean, if he did, then that's.
You think
that's kind of my fault. Our cracker department is.
Did I take Morikawa at Memorial?
This is the most unhinged. How'd you take the one guy that was the missing puzzle piece?
I think I may have taken Morikawa.
I think you did. Something's telling me you did. Okay. I know you took Sam Burns at.
I know it didn't feel right taking him twice.
That's right. Look, that's big of you. That's big of you to avoid that.
Okay. Well, with that, I am between 2 players now. I'm between Xander Schauffele and I'm between Shane Lowry.
Okay.
And I'm gonna go Xander. U.S. Open, 7 out of top 8. I sold many of you earlier on this, so let's go with the stats. Hope the game shows up. Xander Schauffele.
Po' boy could be another po' boy.
Yep.
We would double po' boy this week. I like that. Now I want a shrimp po' boy.
Yeah.
Were you a big po' boy guy? Louisiana, a little bit of that.
Love po' boys, and yeah, shrimp po' boys were typically something I enjoy.
Do they make them in other forms other than shrimp, or is that the only type of po' boy you can get?
Yeah, there's a bunch of other po' boys you can get.
Okay, we got Cajun Smylie.
Yeah, a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Okay, so there you have it. I've got John Rahm. He's got Xander Schauffele, couple of po' boys. You can download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use the code SMILEYSHOW. That's SMYLIESHOW for new customers to score $300 in bonus bets when you win your $5 bet. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY at 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bet must win to receive reward. Minimum minus 500 odds required. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio.
All right, Smylie. A little bummed we didn't get to read the disclaimer. I was really looking forward to talking about Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. But here we are. We're finishing up this U.S. Open preview. I'm getting excited. You've already seen the course. I've not.
Hold on. Can we do a little bit of let's play a little game of long shots. Let's get involved here.
You want to get
all
some
three
long
of
shots?
us.
I'll tell you what the first thing I'm going to do is.
Can we go down the odds board and find a long shot from every one of us three gets to take a long shot.
Do you want to start at the bottom and work our way up? How long is a long shot to you?
Well, let me get the
Should we
odds
cap
up.
it at like 200 to 1?
I think Jax gets to get on
Okay,
this.
yeah, Jax is gonna have to come over here and talk to the mic.
Loser buys
Okay, I'm texting everyone. I text everyone
dinner or something. I don't know.
Text everyone the thing. That's the DraftKings Sportsbook odds right there.
Oh, perfect.
I'll tell you what, we look at it. I saw they're selling a squirrel holding a golf ball stuffed animal in the merch shop. Taking one of those home for the kids. You want me to grab one for Anna Carter?
Man,
She's a stuffed animal girl?
Maybe. Yeah, she likes stuffed animals. Yeah,
I mean, that's actually, I could rail on about that for days. Really, the fact that like Quail Hollow didn't sell a stuffed quail in the merch shop. Like, what are we doing here? It's right there in the name. Like Oakmont selling squirrel. Good job, Oakmont. There needs to be an animal associated with every course as a mascot in the merch shop at every major championship.
Is plus 25,000 a
25? That'd be 25,000. That's like 250 to 1.
That's long shot, right?
That's very long. Like Tom Kim's 200 to 1. Luke Slover's 200 to 1. So we're going 251 or longer. I love it. That begins the group that begins there is Christian Bezadenhout, Ben On, Max Grazerman, Jackson Koiven,
Steven Yeager,
et cetera, et cetera. All right, so who's drafting first? Let's get Jackson.
Dude,
Jackson, come over here. Bring that Georgia Bulldogs hat over here and come
Andrew Landry made the final group here.
Just come. You can just take your headphones off and just come speaking to the mic. Who you taking?
Let's find
251 or longer. This is Jackson Brown's long shot.
Let's find our Andrew Landry.
I'm going the Fargo, North Dakota native Tom Hoagie.
Wow, that's a good pick.
Yeah, I'm absolutely loving Tom Hoagie this week.
Where is he on the odds
He's
board?
250 to 1. He's on the number.
Wow, that's a great
pick, Jax. Way to go.
Good pick.
All right, now we'll reverse snake it because I went first and one and done. Who you taking for your long shot?
Okay, let me get involved with Ben On.
Okay.
I love his length. Drives it straight. Doesn't have to putt well. It would be nice to be putted well.
I was going to say, on what sliding scale are we talking about? Like, how good is not well?
I thought about Johnny Vegas and Eric Van Rooyen too, but I think Ben On hits it further. So give me Ben On.
You ready for mine?
Yeah.
300 to 1. Keefe Dogs. Come on, baby. Johnny Kiefer.
2 weeks in a row.
Keefe Dogs. This is the week. I think Johnny Kiefer is gonna get a top 20.
Okay.
He's gonna get a top 20 at least.
Holy, this thing's deep.
Yeah. How
many people play in this thing?
There are a lot of people playing in this golf tournament. A huge amount of people.
Mackerel.
Michael Assasso, 500 to 1.
James Hahn's in the field?
Yeah. I mean, it's a deep field. It's a very deep field. Okay, I like it.
All right.
Jax has Tom Hoagie. You have been on.
Comment
Johnny
your
Kiefer.
long shot. Who you got up for a long shot?
250 to 1. We want it in the comments. It has to be before play starts on Thursday.
And what's our bet?
The loser has to eat Taco Bell and Dunkin' Donuts back.
Wait, hold on. By the way, don't you owe a? I was supposed to wear like a Bill Belichick hoodie.
You were.
But I won the bet.
No, I won the bet.
Oh, so I'm supposed to do it.
You have to won the Bill Belichick hoodie. Thanks for bringing that up.
I thought I won the bet, which is why I re-brought it up. Okay, that's on the docket.
By the way, you still have to wear like an Auburn jersey for beef.
Jersey.
An Alabama jersey, that's right. For beef. If you're watching this beef, get on him, all right? Ryder Cup this year. We'll hope to see you at Bethpage. Okay. I like it. And then what do people win it in the comments? If we get a longer than 251 winner in the comments, I think I have like a Smylie Show head cover somewhere that I'll send you. How's that sound?
You can play with me somewhere.
Keep dogs, ride with me.
Yeah.
That's what we got. I'm excited. U.S. Open coming your way. We are officially doing our scouting trip tomorrow morning. We have a location on property to Oakmont that we are very excited about for all of our journals. We're going to be recapping the action every single day as soon as this guy gets off the golf course. So make sure you're subscribed, tuned in, notifications, all that good stuff. So we're going to be getting that reaction to every single round at the U.S. Open to you as soon as we can turn it around, as soon as Jacksman can turn it around. So thanks so much for watching and listening, and we'll talk to you back here very, very soon.
I listen to this podcast. It's really cool. And
all of our local fans and subscribers, but make sure you like and subscribe.
It's cool to see what you guys are doing. I know golf fans appreciate it, but we do too, so please keep it up.
For all the good people of YouTube, like and subscribe.
You guys have some good takes, so I'm happy to come on and shoot the